Every day, billions of people escape into digital worlds, streaming their favorite shows, battling in online games, or scrolling endlessly through social feeds. But behind the entertainment, a new kind of influence is taking hold. The lines between fun, information, and propaganda are blurring, and the gatekeepers, they're not just in Silicon Valley, they're in Beijing. Welcome back to Why You Should Care. This is part 2 of the 3-part series, Bowing to Beijing, how China decides what you read, watch, and believe. In this chapter, we move to the digital frontier, where China's economic and technological power is quietly reshaping what you see, hear, and believe online. From gaming and streaming to social media and sports, China's influence is rewriting the rules of global entertainment. If you think the internet is a free and open space, it's time to think again. So, why should you care? Because your favorite games, shows, and sports aren't just entertainment anymore. They're vehicles of influence. When a foreign power controls what global companies can say, create, or broadcast, it's not just shaping policy, it's shaping culture. The scary part? Most people never realize it's happening because the censors got there first. The global gaming industry is now worth over $180 billion a year. That's bigger than movies and music combined. China isn't just a huge market for games, it's become a gatekeeper, quietly shaping what gets made, what gets censored, and what stories are allowed to reach a global audience. Tencent, China's tech giant, is the world's largest gaming company. It owns Riot Games outright, holds a 40% stake in Epic Games, and is a major shareholder in Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft, and dozens of other studios. These investments give Beijing a direct line into the creative and business decisions of the world's most popular games. China's gaming market is the largest on Earth, with over 700 million players. But access to Western studios comes at a price. To get a game approved, developers must submit to a strict government review process. Anything that touches on sensitive topics, Tibet, Taiwan, Hong Kong, religion, even things like ghosts and skeletons, can be banned or force a costly rewrite. World of Warcraft's Chinese release famously replaced skeletons with generic shapes. In Rainbow Six Siege, maps were altered to remove references to gambling and sex. Developers now routinely design games with Chinese censors in mind from day one, knowing that a single misstep can mean losing access to billions in revenue. China's government doesn't just shape what's in games, it controls how people play. Strict regulations limit playtime for minors, ban certain themes, and require real name registration for online gaming. These rules don't just affect Chinese players, they shape the global industry as developers adapt their products to meet Beijing's standards. In 2019, the world saw just how far companies would go to avoid Beijing's wrath, when a professional Hearthstone player voiced support for Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement. Blizzard Entertainment banned him, stripped his prize money, and issued a public apology to China. The gaming world is a case study in how economic leverage and political pressure can reshape creative industries far beyond China's borders. As Chinese investment and regulatory power continue to grow, the question is about more than whether your favorite games are being filtered, it's how much of that influence you even notice. Streaming was supposed to be the great equalizer, giving anyone, anywhere access to the world's stories. But in the age of Beijing's influence, the reality is more complicated. Netflix, the world's largest streaming service, has never been able to launch in mainland China. Instead, it licenses select content to Chinese platforms like iQIYI, but only after passing through government censors. Anything touching on Tibet, Taiwan, Hong Kong, the Tiananmen Square massacre, or LGBTQ+ themes is likely to be blocked or heavily edited. Disney Plus faces similar challenges. In 2021, the platform quietly removed an episode of The Simpsons in Hong Kong because it referenced the Tiananmen Square massacre. Chinese streaming platforms are now producing their own content for global audiences. These shows often present a sanitized, government-approved version of Chinese society. No political dissent, no controversial history, and always a positive image of the state. As these platforms expand internationally, they bring Beijing's narrative with them, shaping perceptions far beyond China's borders. Chinese companies are investing in Western streaming platforms, co-producing content, and shaping the global entertainment landscape. In 2016, Alibaba Pictures invested in Steven Spielberg's Amblin Partners, giving it a say in which films get made and how they're distributed. Tencent Video has partnered with HBO, BBC, and National Geographic to bring their content to Chinese audiences, after it's been reviewed and altered. These partnerships are primarily about narrative control. When a Western studio wants access to China's market, it often means agreeing to co-produce with a Chinese partner, share scripts in advance, and accept edits or script changes. The result is a global entertainment industry where Beijing's preferences are baked in from the start. For decades, sports have been sold as a global language, something that transcends politics, borders, and ideology. But in the 21st century, even the world of sports entertainment is being shaped by the economic and political power of China. The NBA is a case study in how lucrative and precarious the Chinese market has become. The league has spent years cultivating a massive fan base in China, with more than 500 million Chinese viewers and a business partnership with Tencent worth over $1.5 billion. But in 2019, a single tweet by Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey, just 7 words supporting Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement, sparked a crisis. Chinese broadcasters immediately pulled NBA games off the air, sponsors cut ties, and the league's access to its most important overseas market was suddenly in jeopardy. The NBA's response was telling. League officials and star players issued carefully worded statements, some apologizing for offending Chinese fans, others sidestepping the issue entirely. This pattern isn't limited to basketball. The 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics put the entire global sports industry under a microscope. International broadcasters and sponsors faced intense pressure to avoid any mention of human rights abuses in Xinjiang or the crackdown in Hong Kong. Coverage was carefully sanitized, and athletes were warned not to speak out on political issues. Major sponsors like Coca-Cola, Intel, and Visa continued their partnerships with the Beijing Olympics, despite global calls for boycotts over human rights concerns. The International Olympic Committee praised China's efficiency while sidestepping questions about censorship, surveillance, and the disappearance of tennis star Peng Shuai after she accused a top Chinese official of sexual assault. The chilling effect is real, and it's changing the way sports are played, covered, and consumed around the world. The influence even extends to what fans can say and do. Social media platforms and live broadcasts are monitored for sensitive content. In some cases, fans have been ejected from arenas or had their signs confiscated for displaying messages about Hong Kong or Tibet. Western broadcasters have faced pressure to cut away from protests or avoid showing politically charged imagery. The result is a global sports industry where the boundaries of acceptable speech and behavior are increasingly set not by local laws or traditions, but by the demands of a foreign government. The economic incentives are enormous, but so is the cost of free expression and open debate. Sports were supposed to unite people across borders, but today, the global reach of Chinese influence means that even the games we love are filtered through a political lens. So I'll ask again, why should you care? Because we're entering an era where silence isn't the absence of controversy, it's proof of control. When companies preemptively sanitize games, shows, and sports broadcasts to satisfy the Chinese Communist Party, they're not just avoiding backlash, they're participating in it. This is how you normalize authoritarianism in a free society. You hide it in entertainment and let the silence do the rest. So what can you do? Cancel or pause your subscriptions to platforms that remove content at China's request. Support independent developers, streamers, and sports organizations that reject censorship. When you post about entertainment, include what was censored and why. Normalize calling out silence, because culture is upstream of politics. And if we lose that, we lose everything. If you've seen examples of media manipulation, firsthand or otherwise, drop them in the comments. I'll read and reply to every single one. I want this to be a collaborative truth-finding mission, and your feedback will help shape a Q&A or even a follow-up episode. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who still thinks their favorite outlet is unbiased. Find me at Why You Should Care Now on all platforms, or reach out directly at info@whyyousshouldcarenow.com. Full breakdowns and bonus content are at whyyousshouldcarenow.com. If we don't challenge the story, we become part of it.